Welcome. Today we're going to talk about Mr. Cal Newport's latest book. I suppose I should have had it with me, shouldn't I? That's not it there. Where is it? Oh, back on my desk. Hang on. There you go. You see I got a pile of books back here too. So I got to file those and everything. Talk about A World Without Email by Mr. Cal Newport. That's going to be the book we'll talk about today. It's his most recent look, kind of in the deep work productivity genre. We'll talk about that. Before we do that, a few ways you can support the channel. Number one is to become a patron, patreon.com/CurtisMcHale. Or you can take one of my courses on Skillshare, curtismchale.ca/Skillshare. But there's actually links below to most of these if you're watching this video later. Most days we're streaming Fridays, most weeks we're streaming Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is what I'm doing right now. So the live chat gets to ask me questions after. That's it, buckle up. Let's talk about A World Without Email. So, like I said, this is Cal Newport's latest entry in the productivity genre, mainly taking on the evil holding back the productivity of everybody, which is email, or he calls it the hyperactive hive mind is kind of the word that he keeps coming back to, the idea that he keeps coming back to, which if you think of most people's inboxes, not even just email inboxes, but even your, what would you say, your task management inbox could be that too. So I find that we use Rike at work, and it can definitely be like a hyperactive hive, which is like pow, 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 like a million little things that are totally disparate, not even centered on one project, just fire at you. And that's what he wants to help stop so that you can plan your work better and get more work done. Now, Newport breaks the book up into two main sections. First, he's going to tackle why email is bad and we shouldn't be using it like we currently are. And next, he's going to talk about how we could organize a world without email. So his big argument is that in the first chunk about why email is bad is that it has a lot of attention residue in it. So attention residue is the idea that when you switch from one thing to the next, you have like a little bit of dirt, I guess, left on your brain from the last task, and that's going to bleed over into the next task. And then that's it. You've got that, and you keep building it up when you switch too much. Whereas if you can really focus on one task at a time, then you can just focus on that task only and not have all that other stuff just kind of on top of you. And he cites some studies in here, one from Rescue Time and one from, I don't actually have where it was from, but it's on page 11 approximately in the book, that says that most people check their inboxes every 20 minutes, and that the longest somebody went was 40 minutes. And yeah, there's another one that cited 2 minutes as like the big thing that you're going to be on, like checking your email every couple minutes. So nobody can get that much deep work done in 20 minutes or 2 minutes even. Another strong argument he makes is the stress that it causes workers, I guess against email, is he says that, and cites a couple studies that basically if you check your email, the more you check your email, the more stressed out you are. And this stress is even extended to those that batch email. So the more email you get, the more stressed you are. So even if you batch email and only do it, say, for like 30 minutes a day, you are still more stressed than someone who does worse at email. He actually brings this up as well, saying that the people that don't get, I guess, succumb to the hyperactive hive mind are often the jerks, which often comes down to the men because they just say, I'm not doing it. And women get stuck with the fallout of that because it is harder in corporate environments for them to say no for lots of historical, misogynistic, stupid reasons. Not stupid, bad reasons. And men, we need to do better on this. So he also showed another study that email is a hydra. You send an email and you get like 3 back. So it just never stops. Now he also has a hive mind drivers is one of the things. I didn't cover all. He had all these things that were like, the 3 things of this. How you have 3 ways to organize your Kanban board, stuff like that, which he gets to, and we'll get to. The hive mind drivers I did really like though. So he cites 3 drivers of them. First, there's the hidden cost of asynchronous messaging. A quick call is not replaced by an email. It's often replaced by like 7 emails that are all sort of ambiguous. The second one is the cycle of responsiveness, where we get emails at all hours, and that really prompts us to check our emails at all hours because we just have them. And his third driver equates to a caveman at a computer. In short, we evolved methods for small group communication. He says up to about 6, but we're just terrible at communication with everyone else. So we send emails mainly because it feels easy just to kind of like pass the potato back, the hot potato, and then that's it. We figure that's done. So now the second half of the book is about how we deal with not just email, but all messaging. He puts Slack in there. He puts Discord would be in there, all those types of things. One of the key things that he keeps coming back to is that knowledge work is really at the spot where factory work was when Henry Ford started making his innovations, but we're not really doing a lot of testing. We don't even really try a lot of new ways. We just say this is the way it's always been done. By always, we mean like the last 20 years. So we must keep doing it this way. Page 112 and 103, he talks about those ideas. Now, the easy thing about factory work is that it was a easy learning environment. If we looked at range, there'll be a link to that in the YouTube video for this. And in range, it talked about a kind environment is chess, where the moves are known, the rules are obvious, and you can see the outcome really quick. Whereas a wicked environment has like unknown rules, outcomes may vary, and they may be months away. So that's what knowledge work experimentation really is. It is hard to figure out. Feedback's vague, comes after the long after the inputs change, and what works for one organization at one time may not work for another organization at another time. So it's hard, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. The main hypothesis that he keeps operating on is reducing our attention residue, so reducing the amount we check our inboxes so that we can focus on one thing and really knock one thing out of the park at a time, and that you have control and plan your work so you don't even really look at these inboxes and use that to dictate your work. You might clear it out at some point, but you are not using that to dictate your work. Now, the biggest thing that he advocates for is a Kanban style task board. He cites Trello, he cites a few other ones. It doesn't really matter. First, some of his tips there are set up more than one board. So for me, maybe I set up a YouTube board, a personal board for just like the stuff around the house, and then work, although in my case, work is taken up by Rike, so Rike would get its own board. And then I would decide, like, I'm working in my YouTube board right now, my content board. And so I'm doing only those tasks. I'm working in my home board, so I'm only looking at the home tasks, right? Getting the kids or making sure forms are filled out and stuff like that for kids. Another big thing he says is do a weekly review of tasks. We've heard about this all the time. That's like a big GTD thing. Do your weekly review, page 168. If you don't do this, then you just don't have a trusted system. And he uses that word. That's like a GTD. Who's that guy? Whoever that guy is, which I forget. Right? Your trusted system is your GTD. So there's some things that kind of cross over between all of these. That's one of them. There's one final point that he talks about in dealing with email, is that your vacation autoresponder is broken. And I love this. I feel like I've heard it before, but I just loved it again. Here, none of this, like, I'll be back on Tuesday, I'll get back to it after that. Just say, nah, I'm deleting all these emails. You got to email me back. That was awesome. I'm not sure that I can implement that in my jobby job, but I would love to be able to do that. So one way this has already kind of played out for me is we hired a new employee at work, and they were using a lot of threads in Slack, and we were pretty light on Slack communication, really. But I said, hey, if you feel like you need a thread, then we just need to be on a call. That's it. No more threads. No more threads. So finally, should you read A World Without Email by Cal Newport? Despite being a big Newport fan, I don't feel like this book hit me as hard, and that would be hard to do actually, as Deep Work did. When I read Deep Work, it was like, this is everything I've been thinking, and this is amazing. This is another decent entry in the genre of productivity and get away from email. It's a step towards what will be that idea later on, that book later on, that will be a sea change, that will be this big thing that just blows everyone's mind. But I don't think this one's it. It's good. You're going to pick up a tidbit or two. If you've read lots in this genre, you're just going to pick up a tidbit or two. I will not be returning this book, though, because I kind of like Cal Newport stuff. So it'll go on the shelf with Deep Work and So Good They Can't Ignore You. So not a big fan of his student stuff. Well, I've never just read it. I'm not a student, so I haven't read it. That's it. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell. You can leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. You can become a patron, patreon.com/CurtisMcHale. Take one of the courses that I offer on Skillshare, curtismchale.ca/Skillshare. My Zettelkasten course specifically might be interesting to you. You can find the link to that below. Or you can join me in Discord, or you can join me streaming Fridays, 1 p.m. Pacific. Because I'm just going to talk to the streamers right now. If you got any questions, streamers, let me know, and I will answer them about this book specifically. Ciao.